All right, what's up, guys? Been asked to make a quick little video on the Aces EFI system I purchased for my LS swap that I'm going to do into the Jeep. So the system is pretty straightforward. The Jackpot system comes with the ECU and then a 7-inch monitor. Pretty sure that the Jackpots all come with a 7-inch. Let me rephrase that. I believe the Jackpot with transmission control comes with a 7-inch monitor. If not, it's an upgrade. Looks to be like well worth the upgrade. It is a CAN system. So you got this little plug here, and that connects into the wire harness that connects into everything else. Along with the main wire harness, you get an additional wire harness that is for like your launch control and your fans, fan signals, what's this, fuel levels, things like that. So these are like your accessory things that you're going to use. I don't know if you necessarily need these, but they have them there, so they're options. So there's also multiple sensors or multiple, yeah, I mean, I guess like this one here, there's multiple of the sensors. So depending on your map sensor that you're using, you can use a couple different style of plug map sensors. They give you 2 harnesses for that. Like this one's IAT, map sensor, TPS, and IAC. So, and then there's the same thing roughly, essentially, without the, with a different map plug. So then you got your ignition coil 1357. That is going to go on the driver's side. Passenger side is going to be 2468. All that goes into a plug, which goes into your main harness. Next sub harness is going to be the, I think it's called the PPS harness. But it's going to have your pedal position. GM part numbers, I'll put them down here in the description of what GM pedals you can use. But it has this style plug for this style pedal. But then there is 2 different of these harnesses because there is a 8-pin throttle body connector, and then there's a 6-pin throttle body connector. Just use whichever one is for the throttle body you have. Now this one here is the other sensor harness. So the one sensor harness I told you had the map and the IAT and the ICT and all that. Well, for my setup, I'm just using the map sensor and the IAT. So I took the rest of them and just bundled them up in here, tried to make it a little clean and look good. I already showed you that sensor there. Your injector harness. So both sides of the injector are on the same harness. So it's just the one plug. 1357 goes to driver's side, 2468 goes passenger side. There's the other coil, 2468, passenger side. The main harness, it plugs into the ECU. You've got your fuses and your couple relays built into the harness, so you don't have to worry about that. Your additional wires for like your controls things. Your not OBD, your O2 sensors. I've got them taped back because if I'm firing up the engine on the stand, I don't have the O2s hooked up, so I don't have them plugged into it. ETC, electronic throttle control. This will go to your pedal and it'll go to your throttle body. That plug was just, it has the 2 different There's two different harnesses that you could use. Whatever plugs for your throttle body, use that one. It plugs in here. So we move on down. We have the cam crank sensor. I don't believe, actually I still have that hooked up on mine. So your cam sensor and your crank sensor, your cam is at the back of the block. Crank is on the side next to your starter on a Gen 3. I don't know about the others. That's got one plug that plugs in there. This one is the sensor wire. This is the one that's got the map sensor on it. That's what plugs into sensor. This one here is injector. Right? All your injectors, the one plug goes here. Your ignition 2468, it's labeled. Same with ignition 1357. Your ignition coils plug into that. Oil pressure sensor, it's on the main harness. Knock sensor is on the main harness as well. There is a 58 tooth crank knock sensor set up, and then there's a 24, I think it is. I'm not even drawing a blank right now. Then you have a fuel pressure sensor and a coolant temp sensor. All that is on the main harness here. So on the main harness, you have your main relay here, but then right here you have your fuel pump relay. Well, on this main harness as well, you have 4 wires, longer wires. So you have an ignition, key ignition wire. So when you turn your key on, this is what's going to power on your Jackpot system. It's a small red wire and it's labeled ignition key. You're gonna have your ground, you're gonna run it to your battery. There is an orange wire here. This is your fuel pump. Okay. And then one last, I already said the red wire goes to your battery. No, I did not. So the red wire here, this is battery positive. This is what you run to the battery, and it's direct, clean voltage to the ACES system, which makes it happy. My system is a drive-by-wire drive-by-wire with transmission control. I got a 4L65, which I don't know. I don't think the ACES it matters. 4L60, 4L85, 4L80, all those. So you have your main plug, which goes into the main harness. You have your transmission plug, and then on the 65, you have the vehicle speed sensor, VSS. The 4L80s will use the turbine sensor. 65 does not have that. But for me, with mine being a 4-wheel drive transmission, I have to have this here to go onto the adapter plate on my transfer case. All right, so over here you have your knock sensors, pretty self-explanatory. Your cam sensor here, your oil pressure sensor here, your crank is over on the back side here, and then this cam actually just plugs in right there. This will plug in, this is what's going to plug into the harness. You know, your ignition coils, your injectors are going to go on the fuel rail on your injectors. Your exciter wire for your this thing here. So what you're going to do is anytime you have, we'll say, ignition voltage, 12 volts on the ignition, you're going to want to send power to these wires. You only really need one, I believe. So you're going to want to send power to those wires. Your grounds, I did a ground on the block or on the head here and here. You know, it will ground, but make sure you run a strap to the block as well. So the head to the block, ground. So there you have it. Quick, clean system. A 58 sub harness a 24 sub harness. There is 2 harnesses for different throttle bodies. There is, I feel like there was another extra cable for something, but I'm drawing a blank. The kit does come with 2 wideband O2 sensors, which is kind of nice. So the price is good. The tuning is there. It's getting better as far as online tuners. There's a couple really good tuners. Dirty Racing over on the East Coast looks like it's doing some really good stuff. So that is who I will be calling once I get this motor in this Jeep and we can get it out on the trail, or I can get it out on the road, we can get her tuned up and get going. This has self-learning software in it, so who knows, maybe I don't need a tuner, but we'll see. So thanks for watching, guys.
And here we go.